our audience has made it into the event, so I think we can get started. Again, first of all, welcome everyone. Thank you so much for joining me today to learn more about the Silver Scholars Program. I'd like to say just a quick word about the agenda for today, just so you know what to anticipate over the next hour that we'll spend together. I'll begin with a brief presentation just to give you sort of an overview of the Yale School of Management, our full-time MBA program, provide you a little bit of more information specific to the Silver Scholars Program, and finally end with some information around our application process and provide you with some application tips. The second half of the event will be a Q&A, and I will really let your questions guide the conversation here. I see that many of you already submitted tons of great questions before the event during the registration stage, so thank you so much for that. I will indeed begin with those. But throughout the event, once I launch into my presentation and begin speaking, showing you different slides, please don't hesitate to send your questions my way. I'm actually working with my colleague Diana today. She's behind the scenes and you can't see her, but she will be collecting all of your questions and sending them my way. So please make sure to put them in the Q&A feature of this platform, and she will be forwarding them to me. Any question is fair game. As you can imagine, there's only so much that I can cover in my presentation. So please don't hesitate to ask about something related to my presentation or something that I just didn't get a chance to cover. Anything about the Yale School of Management, the application process, Greater Yale University, and really anything else that you're curious about and anything else that's on your mind. I will do my best to get to most of your questions, but I hope that this is just the beginning. We can continue the conversation either through other events, or you can reach out to me after the event via email. I would be happy to hear from you and answer any additional questions. So with that in mind, I will go into screen share mode right now so I can launch my presentation. Okay. All right. I hope that everyone can see my screen. So a quick word about me. I am a member of the admissions committee. So along with all of my colleagues on the committee, I read many applications throughout the year. I also interview candidates for admission into the program, and not this past year, but usually throughout the year, we obviously travel tons for recruitment across different cities and continents around the world. Specifically for the Silver Scholars Program, we actually visit many different colleges and universities around the world, which is obviously an amazing opportunity for us to connect with you on your campus. We usually hold an info session in a classroom in a smaller, more intimate environment, and have a chance to get to know you better, answer your questions, and connect with you this way. So obviously I'm very sad that we haven't been able to do that this year. So we believe that really the best way to begin a conversation or a presentation about the MBA experience at the Yale School of Management is really to talk about the mission of the school. The mission is really not only what motivates our community of faculty, students, staff on a daily basis, but it's also what sets the strategic tone for where the school is going. As you can see, the mission is to educate leaders for business and society. So leaders who, of course, care about being successful, having a successful career in business, but they're also constantly thinking about how to make a positive impact on society, okay? And in looking and thinking about how to put that mission into practice for the next generation of global leaders, such as yourselves, we've really focused on 3 strategic objectives that you see listed here. I'll say a very quick word about each one of them, and also try to give you a few examples along the way of how these translate into the actual MBA experience for our MBA students on campus. Top of the list, you see the objective to be the business school most integrated with its home university, Yale University. So when you join the SOM community, you really join Yale University, you join the Yale University community, and we really do encourage our SOM students to take full advantage of every opportunity and everything that Greater Yale has to offer, okay, in terms of courses, resources, etc. And I'll talk about 2 prominent ways in which that happens. One is through the freedom and flexibility that our curriculum offers. As you know, the MBA is a 2-year full-time program. The first year is our integrated core curriculum. I'll actually talk a little bit more about that later in my presentation. But the second year of the MBA program is all electives, okay? Which means that you get to select your courses based on what you consider relevant academically and professionally to you. And you also have unlimited and unrestricted access to the entire Yale University. Okay, it's really, really very unique for a program to be able to offer that. And we encourage our students to take full advantage of that. Secondly, I wanted to talk about the joint degree programs. We currently have 10 of these. One is actually with a program at the Yale School of Management, the Masters in Asset Management, but the other 9 programs that we offer as a joint degree are with other graduate programs at Yale University. 7 are with other Yale professional schools, such as the School of the Environment, the School of Public Health, Law, Medicine, Architecture, Drama, and Divinity. 1 is with the Jackson Institute for Global Affairs, for those of you interested in economic development, public policy, international relations, and so on. And the 9th isn't really a single degree, but an agreement with the Graduate School of Arts and Sciences, and it includes all the PhD programs at Yale University. So I believe there are over 75 of them across the different academic departments at Yale. So if you have any questions about the joint degree programs or one of them specifically, please don't hesitate to put a question in the Q&A around that. Our incoming class every year is about 350 students, and between 11 and 18% of those on any given year are joint degree students, okay? So students pursuing an MBA along with another graduate degree at Yale University. So the second strategic objective is to be recognized as the most global US business school, and we believe we're already there in a way that happens very organically through the composition of our community of students, faculty, staff, etc. 45% of our students are international passport holders. Another really key driver behind global experiences and opportunities for our students is actually the Global Network for Advanced Management. It was initiated in March of 2012, so almost a decade ago, by Yale SOM. And the network really facilitates connections between students and faculty at 31 top business schools in 28 countries across 6 continents. Each member university is a leader in their respective country. It has been very strategically chosen to participate in the network. And as you can see from this world map, these schools are located in both well-established and in emerging economies. Now, before graduation, every Yale SOM student completes what we call a global studies requirement. To complete that requirement, a student chooses one of these 5 options. As you can see, these options are very different one from another. They vary sort of in intensity, in duration, in type. So it's really about what kind of global experience you would like to have. Secondly, it looks like there are 5 options, but actually even within each and every one of these options are embedded a number of other options. So the menu and the variety and the opportunities are actually even more than the slide suggests. And I'll mention a couple of them. Perhaps the most popular option to fulfill the global studies requirement is number 1, the International Experience course, which explores sort of the complexities of a business environment from a leader's point of view. The course culminates in a 10-day trip, which is led by a faculty member as well as several TAs, current students with expertise in that region. And students go to 1 or more business capitals where they have the opportunity to visit companies, meet business, political, nonprofit leaders, and of course, local alumni. It's a trip that many of our students decide to take. Usually takes place in March during spring break. Another very popular option is number 2, the Global Network Weeks. These are week-long mini courses that can be offered by any of those 31 business schools in the network, and students from any institution can travel and take those courses, okay? So although not all the schools offer those courses every time there's an opportunity to take them, which is in October and in March, most of them do, which means that even under that option number 2, you have at least 20 choices. And by 20 choices, I mean at least 20 institutions offering courses. And of course, they're offering a variety of courses. So again, many options to choose from. I also want to say a word about option number 4. For those of you that are interested in coursework that is sort of at the intersection of social impact, entrepreneurship, and experiential learning, the course takes place in the classroom in New Haven, but as part of the course, students get to travel and they have the opportunity to complete a pro bono consulting project for an organization in a developing country. So as part of the course, students have traveled to countries such as India, South Africa, Kenya, Brazil, etc. Finally, that brings me to the 3rd objective, to be recognized as the best source of elevated leaders across sectors, the private, public, and nonprofit, and across regions of the world. So to that end, we have developed an integrated approach to an MBA education, which is through the core curriculum that I mentioned. It is really designed to help you think about sort of big unstructured problems, the kinds that you will certainly face in your career after graduation. The curriculum is also very interdisciplinary in nature, which means that it draws on disciplines well beyond business, such as sociology, psychology, political science, etc. All of these courses in the integrated curriculum fall under the umbrella of organizational perspectives. So rather than the traditional course titles, the course titles that you're seeing here are innovator, investor, customer, and so on. As I mentioned, they draw on multiple academic disciplines and multiple perspectives to kind of help you gain a fuller understanding of the subject matter. And The reason why we think that this is important and meaningful is because if you really think about it, no meaningful problem in the world is purely a marketing problem or purely an accounting problem, right? It's always more complex than that. So as a leader, you really need to understand how the different pieces of your organization fit together. You need to be able to understand an issue from the perspective of multiple stakeholders, and also understand how your organization impacts and is impacted by political systems, regulations, community expectations, and many, many other kind of internal and external factors. So just to go into one of those, you see sourcing and managing funds here. This is a course that is co-taught and covers functions such as accounting, finance, operations, strategy. In fact, faculty who teach in the core oftentimes work together. Sometimes they cover a single case study across two different courses in order to really demonstrate how a particular issue can affect different aspects of an organization and how it can be viewed differently from the perspective of different stakeholders, okay? So in a way, yes, this approach is more rigorous, both for the faculty and the students, but we really believe it's more practical. It will be more helpful for you in your career after graduation. And it's really, really better aligned with what you will experience in your career after graduation. A quick word about the Yale SOM community as well. I really encourage you to think about community as you're kind of researching, applying to graduate and professional schools. I know that you're doing tons of research looking into faculty, courses, resources, all things that matter, of course, but I hope that you would agree with me that community is also important. Community also matters. Where you find yourself, who you are surrounded by, who are your peers, that is also important. So I would greatly, greatly encourage you to think about that as well. I already mentioned earlier in my presentation that our incoming class is about 350 students. So given its relatively small size, it's a very close, tight-knit, collaborative community. It's the kind of place where people know each other, people support each other. And I would really encourage you to get to know our students, our community members, through, for example, through the different clubs and organizations and affinity groups. All of them are listed on our website, as well as the leaders for those clubs and organizations. We publish their names and their contact information. They serve as our admissions ambassadors, so you can easily reach out to them, ask questions. They anticipate hearing from prospective students and are really eager to connect with you. So my next couple of slides are more specific to the Silver Scholars Program. The program was founded in 2001, so exactly 20 years ago, by Professor Barry Nailbuff. You can read a little bit more about him here on this slide. I just want to say that he's still very much involved in the program, in the sense that he reads applications submitted by Silver Scholars. He interviews Silver Scholar candidates for admission. He sits on the committee that makes admissions decisions. And obviously, once you come into the school as Silver Scholars, you will be taking his classes. He serves as a mentor, advisor, etc., etc. A couple of things I want to say about the program, sort of define its more distinctive features. For those of you that have already done research on MBA programs that accept applications from college seniors, I am sure that you have noted most of them accept applications from college seniors for their MBA program with the expectation that you'll be working for a few years, meaning that the structure of the program is a 2+2 or deferment program. So the Silva Scholars program is very unique in that sense. We enroll Silva Scholars immediately after they complete their undergraduate studies. So you enter the program in the summer after you graduate, you complete the first year of the MBA, then you do what we call an extended internship. You work full-time for a year and then return to campus to complete the second year of the MBA program. Now, that said, I really want to make clear that it is not a different MBA program. It is the exact same 2-year full-time MBA program that all of our MBA students complete, okay? The only difference is that young professionals that have full-time work experience enter the program with the expectation that they'll be doing a summer internship between the first and the second year. And Silva Scholars, again, because they come straight out of undergrad, they complete an extended internship between the first and the final year of the MBA program, which means they work at least 1 year full-time. But many of them are actually choosing to work for 2, even 3 years before they return to campus to finish the MBA program. So here I thought that you would want to see some faces of real current Silva Scholars. So I just wanted to offer you these profiles. I am sure that you're also wondering what is the committee looking for, who is a typical Silva Scholar, what are we expecting to see, what are we looking for in your applications. So the one thing that I want to make very, very clear is that there is no such thing as a typical Silva Scholar. We really aim to recruit a diverse class academically, professionally, geographically, experientially. You know, as you can see, these students come from different countries, have studied in different places, not necessarily, you know, in their home country, and they've had a lot of different experiences, and they all have different career aspirations. So we are not looking for students from specific disciplines or experiences or backgrounds. We accept students from all majors, and in fact, every year, almost every Silva Scholar that comes into the program comes with a different major, okay? To kind of back that point up, I want to read you here. I have a list of the majors of Silva Scholars that entered the program last fall of 2020, to just really give you an idea of the academic diversity of our current Silva Scholars. So here they are: anthropology, applied mathematics, biomedical engineering, business administration, chemical engineering, computer science, economics, finance, German language and literature, hospitality management, international relations, statistics, political science, and government. Okay, so again, I really hope, if you're thinking about applying to the program, I hope that puts your mind at ease, that students apply from all different academic disciplines across the humanities, social sciences, physical and biological sciences, engineering, computer science, etc., etc. Similarly, in regards to their professional experience, or you know, the internships and resumes the Silva Scholars submit, we welcome students from all different backgrounds and career goals and aspirations. So yes, I would say that perhaps the vast majority apply having done the more traditional, standard, corporate structured internships in finance, consulting, technology, marketing, etc. But many of our candidates are entrepreneurial, so they've started their own ventures. Others have worked for the family business, and still others are scientists. So they have amazing experiences in the lab or extensive research experience, etc. Finally, I wanted to show you the application slides, what the application components look like. The first thing that I'll say is that the application process is absolutely the same for all of our candidates, everyone applying to the full-time MBA program, okay? With two small exceptions, and I've highlighted those in blue for the Silver Scholar candidates. So let me say a quick word about that. Essentially, young professionals applying to the MBA program with full-time work experience after graduation are required to submit 2 professional letters of recommendation. But for college seniors who have limited work experience applying to the Silver Scholars program, we expect to see 1 professional and 1 academic letter of recommendation, okay? So the academic one would usually come from a professor, an academic advisor, dean, mentor, obviously someone who can speak to your academic performance in class, on projects, on campus, etc. And the professional one usually comes from someone that has served in a supervisory capacity, okay, such as a manager, supervisor at an internship, but it could also be someone who has supervised your work at an organization or a place where you volunteer, community type of work. So that would be perfectly fine as well. They're welcome to submit that kind of, you're welcome to submit such a recommendation as well. So it does not have to be just professional paid internship or academic from a professor. And secondly, about the interview, Silver Scholars are interviewed by 2 members of the Silver Scholars Committee. It's still 1 interview, which lasts for about half an hour, but 2 interviewers are present. It's usually an admissions officer, such as myself, and 1 of the faculty members that sit on the Silver Scholars Committee. Finally, I wanted to show you the application deadlines. Some of you asked in the pre-submitted questions if you still have a chance to apply to the program and begin in fall of 2021. Absolutely. Round 3 is just around the corner. As you can see, the application deadline is April 13th, so you still have plenty of time to submit an application. And if you do, you will receive a decision from us on May 18th, okay? I say on May 18th, not by May 18th. We do not release early decisions. We don't have rolling admissions. So everyone who applies in that round will receive a decision on the decision release date, okay? Another question that we got several times from candidates that registered for this event is, for example, I have this specific test score, I have this specific GPA, what are my chances of being admitted into the program? And I really want to say that that is not something that I can say based on just 1 data point and just 1 aspect of your application. I'm sure you've heard this from other admissions officers. We have a very holistic approach to our evaluation process. So everything that you submit matters, okay? Your academics matter, your resume matters, what your recommenders have to say about you matters. So this is how the admissions committee makes a decision, by fully and completely evaluating all different aspects and components of your application. Here I'll say we don't have a minimum GPA or GMAT or GRE score requirement. It's really about sort of the entirety of the application, the candidacy that you submit to us. And finally, another question that we got from you, from the pre-submitted questions, was around test scores. We do not have a preference for one over the other, so please, choose carefully which test you decide to take and submit to us. Obviously, choose the one that works better for you. I know that some business programs may have a slight preference for the GMAT. We don't. Feel free to submit either one to us. And secondly, a number of students asked about Toefl. As you can see, it's not on this slide, so it's not required. Even if you submit it, I can assure you that it will not be taken into consideration as part of the review of your application. You know, if you have a great score, fantastic, but it won't really tip the scales one way or another. And if you haven't taken it, obviously, it's not a requirement for our application process. Regardless of you know, what your citizenship is, whether you're a native speaker, and where you went to school. We believe that we have enough data points throughout sort of the application and the different application components to gauge English language proficiency, both written and oral. So we definitely don't need you to take another test for that. Great, and this is my final slide, just encouraging you to keep in touch, and as I said earlier, continue the conversation. So I'm sharing the general email address of our office where you can send any and all questions, and I'm also sharing my personal email address in case you would like to reach out directly to me and ask more specific questions around your particular academic circumstances or professional aspirations or anything related to the application process. Obviously, I would be happy to help. So with that, I would just exit the slide share, return back to the screen, and as I promised you, I will begin with the questions that you submitted in advance. So let me quickly go to those. Okay. So a common question that you asked was around scholarships for Silva Scholars, or students admitted into the Silva Scholars program. Great question. Obviously, I'm sure it's on your mind as a college graduate. So let me say a few words about the scholarships and also the scholarship process, right? How scholarship decisions are made by the committee. All the scholarships that we offer, the Yale School of Management, are merit-based, meaning that the decision that the Office of Financial Aid and the Director of Financial Aid make is purely based on the candidacy that you submit to us, okay, on the merits of the candidacy that you submit. So again, everything matters. Your test scores, your academic record, your letters of recommendation, your essay, everything is taken into consideration when those decisions are made. More than a third of our students actually receive some kind of a scholarship. If you do receive a scholarship, the minimum amount would be $20,000 towards your MBA. And the maximum would be full tuition. For those of you on this call that are thinking about a career in public service, that are thinking about entering the public sector, I spoke about the mission of the school several times during my presentation, the mission to educate leaders for business and society, to shape leaders both for the private and the public sector. We have a very generous loan forgiveness program in place for those entering public sector work. So let me tell you about it. Essentially, if you take on a loan to finance your MBA education in part or in full, and upon graduation, you enter public sector work, and there's a very broad definition of what constitutes public sector work. So for example, obviously any NGO, any government around the world, even multilateral organizations such as the World Bank, the IMF, the United Nations, of course. If you enter this type of work, we forgive 100% of your loan, okay? So think about that. Obviously, this is done with the intention to allow you to pursue the kind of opportunities that you're passionate about and the type of work where you feel you can make the most impact, right, in business and on society, which is why we have this program in place. You can read more about it on our website, but obviously I wanted to make sure that I mention it as an option to you. The program is good for 10 years after graduation. Another question kind of related to this one is, are there fellowships or research assistantships available for students in the program? Absolutely, all of those fellowships, TA-ships, RA-ships would be available to you. Either connected specifically to SOM faculty and opportunities at the Yale School of Management or at Greater Yale University, okay? You will hear about those as soon as you join the community. Most of them occur in the second year, but I also know students that have been able to secure those even in the first year, okay? One thing I forgot to mention when I spoke more specifically about our curriculum is that our student to faculty ratio is 8:1, okay? Which means that you have tremendous access to our faculty who are not only academics, but many of them are also practitioners, advisors, consultants, both for the private, public, nonprofit sector. And so if you are interested in the type of work that they do, the research they're engaged in, you can get involved in those projects and secure RA-ships in this way. Another question that I see is any advice? Sorry, my career path is not the traditional one. Will this affect my application? The person that asked this question didn't provide a lot of context around the non-traditional aspect of their candidacy, whether it's academic or professional or experiential, which is perfectly fine. I want to assure you that it is perfectly fine to apply to the program. I hope it became clear in my presentation that we're not looking for a type, for a specific profile. So you should absolutely feel comfortable being a non-traditional applicant. I also wish to assure you that if the non-traditional path is more experiential, let's say you've taken time after high school to enter military service for several years, if there are other things in the application, and the committee makes a determination that you're not eligible for the Silver Scholars Program, we will not deny your application, okay? We will simply move it to the full-time MBA pool where it will be reviewed with the candidacies of all the other applicants, okay? So please rest assured that the committee will make the best determination for your candidacy. Another question here is, do I have any advice or is there anything to know about the pass, no pass policy over this past year? So the only thing I have to say is, please don't worry about it. We completely understand that this is a policy that obviously many different schools, including Yale College, made last year. So if your entire coursework for a semester is showing is credit, no credit, or pass, no pass, there's absolutely nothing for you to worry about. The committee knows, understands, and will definitely not hold it against you. Another question is, describe the networking opportunities available to help you learn more about your career options, such as job tracks, student club-led activities, company-sponsored events, conferences, etc. So yes, all of these are there, and they happen through the professional student clubs or through the Career Development Office. Oftentimes, those two entities work together on planning all of these things. Job tracks specifically company-sponsored events, networking opportunities, conferences, alumni speakers, etc., etc. So to learn more around the specific career industry, I would really encourage you to email one of the club leaders that is tied to that industry, and they can provide you obviously more specific information about what speakers come, what kind of events and conferences do they host. They can obviously provide a lot more detail than I'm able to at this point. The next question is really about the essay. How do I adapt my required essay to reflect the lesser extent of my experience in comparison to those applying with a few years of work experience? And do I have any tips on our biggest commitment? Absolutely. So first of all, the fact that you're a college senior and have limited experience should not worry you. This is not what the essay is trying to get at. We require only one essay. The topic is, what is the biggest commitment you've ever made? And this is really not about comparing impact and magnitude and the experience of one candidate to that of another. This is really about your approach to your commitment. So on the one hand, we're trying to understand your motivation behind the commitment. And secondly, the steps that you took towards that commitment, right? How you carried out that commitment. Okay, so please focus on that, think about that. It can be a personal, it can be a professional commitment. It can really come from any sphere of your life and your experiences. It's, again, one essay. That's the only requirement, written requirement that we have. It's a 500-word essay, so there's only so much you can say. So the next question, can we write about a few experiences? My answer is definitely no. Please do not make that mistake. Really focus on one experience so that you can fully and more substantively explain that to the committee, right? When it becomes a list of commitments, the problem becomes that you don't do any of the commitments justice. So it becomes a missed opportunity to really for you to really show what is meaningful to you, how you've approached your commitment, and how you've carried it out. Here's a question about the joint degree programs. Do you have to apply to the joint degree programs at the same time or later, add one? And is one option more advantageous than the other? So I'll kind of start backwards. No, one option is not more advantageous than the other. Both options are available to you. You can apply now as a college senior, or you can come to Yale into one of our programs and apply from there as a joint degree student. So both are perfectly fine. And obviously, if you have more specific questions around one of the programs, please make sure to get in touch with me so we can talk about it. Another question, I am a life sciences major with no business classes or internship experience in business. How should I approach my Silver Scholars application? Great question. And I know it looks like a very specific question, but I wanted to make sure to address it because I'm sure that many other candidates are wondering the same thing. This is my major. I have no business classes on my transcript, no business experience. Would I be at a disadvantage? And the answer is absolutely not. You will really not be disadvantaged in any way, shape, or form. As I mentioned earlier, when I read you the different academic majors that our students come from, you saw a number of disciplines under the umbrella of the humanities. As you can imagine, those students most likely don't have business courses and not necessarily have a business related internships. It is perfectly fine. It is not a requirement for the program. So please rest assured that you will not be at a disadvantage during the application process. We're not looking for specific courses on your transcript. Yes, we're looking for quantitative preparedness, but that can be demonstrated in a number of ways. The transcript is one way, the standardized test score is another way, the letters of recommendation and the resume is a third way. Okay, what are some of the lesser known factors that you take into account when you evaluate applicants? I'm sure you'll see this as logical once I mention it. So essentially, because we will never compare your resume to that of someone who has worked for 3, 4, 5, 6 years, right? Has more rigorous work experience after graduation. For the Silva Scholars applicants specifically, we place a bigger emphasis on academics, okay? So when I say academics, I don't mean just your grades. There are a number of things that fall under the umbrella of academics when it comes to your application. One is your academic record, the courses that you've taken, your major, minor, etc. A second one is your academic letter of recommendation. So what that recommender has to say about you. And thirdly, the standardized test score, the GMAT or the GRE. Okay, so all of those things kind of make the academic aspect of your candidacy. And that weighs a little bit more, I would say, than, let's say, your resume. Have students succeeded in working in Europe after the program? Absolutely, both during for the extended internship and after, as in once they graduate from the program. I can think of a number of European students that have decided to work in Europe, not necessarily in their home country. I can recall a German Silva Scholar who worked in Germany, a Spanish Silva Scholar who worked in Germany, a Bulgarian Silva Scholar who is working now in the UK. So absolutely, our Career Development Office will support your internship and career goals wherever they take you geographically. So if your desire is to work in Europe after graduation, both our Career Development Office as well as the Euro SOM Club will be a great resource for you. Okay, so I think this is it for the pre-submitted questions. So with that, I know we're getting a lot of questions from the virtual audience as well. So let me just see what Diana has sent my way. Is it possible to maintain employment while working on my MBA? So we really discourage this practice, but let me just pause and say it really depends on what this candidate means by employment, right? Meaning that if you are thinking of having an internship during your MBA program, that practice is really discouraged for a number of different reasons. Obviously, our curriculum is very rigorous and we want you to be successful academically. We want you to be an active member of the community and take full advantage of the clubs, organizations, affinity groups, contribute to those as well. The recruitment process is rigorous as well. That will require your full attention. So because of all these different things, we don't want any one aspect, social, academic, etc., of your experience, MBA experience, to suffer because of that internship. So we discourage that. However, if by employment you mean some of the things that I already mentioned, such as being a TA or securing an RA-ship, working with a professor, that is perfectly fine. Many of our students that do that. Your time will allow for that. So there's absolutely no issue with that. do you believe that recent graduates are able to receive the full-time MBA experience without work experience? How do faculty, courses, and program ensure this? Great question. I'm really glad that somebody asked this because absolutely. If by recent graduates, you mean specifically Silver Scholar graduates, we have made sure that with the program structure that we have put in place, by the time you graduate, you are absolutely on par with every MBA student graduating. You have the MBA degree, you have meaningful experience, work experience, and you can compete for any and all jobs that are open to MBA candidates. Sometimes Silver Scholar candidates ask me if they're able to fully integrate with the MBA experience and kind of contribute. Again, the answer is yes. I assure you that if you walk around the Yale School of Management, you will never be able to tell who the Silver Scholars are. If you sit on a learning team and listen to a discussion that is going on among the students, you will never be able to tell who the Silver Scholars are. So they are fully integrated in the MBA experience. The class is divided into 5 cohorts, large learning teams, small learning teams, and the Silver Scholars are equally distributed amongst all of those groups and teams. Okay, let's see what other questions we have. How many Silver Scholars does Yale SOM accept every year? Great question. We don't have a set number, to be completely honest with you, which means that the program is not capped. I mentioned several times in our conversation that the total number of MBA students arriving on campus every fall is about 350. So the MBA program is capped. But within the MBA program, the Silver Scholars population is not. So it just works out to about 5% of the MBA class every year. It was actually larger last year. We saw an increase in applications and there were just too many amazing candidates to turn away. So we did accept more Silver Scholars. So if you're thinking about round 3, specifically about round 3 being smaller and space being limited, do not worry about it. It is not really applicable to Silver Scholar candidates. Okay. Are the tuition and fees the same for regular MBA and Silver Scholars? Absolutely. Again, I wish to emphasize it's the exact same. MBA program, 2-year MBA program, tuition, costs, fees are the same for both populations. So here, let me clarify that while you're on your extended internship as a Silver Scholar, you have no financial obligations to the school. You're working full-time, you're receiving a great salary, and you're not paying tuition, obviously, during that time. You only pay tuition while you're in residence. So only for the 2 years that you spend on campus. Will Yale SOM help me in finding an internship for the 2nd year? Absolutely. I mentioned a number of times the Career Development Office, the professional student clubs. Here, I want to also say that you have one additional amazing resource within the Career Development Office. There is a dedicated professional to our early career students, so such as Silver Scholars. She oversees the Silver Scholars professional development and helps them with the internship and job search. I always say the idea has to come from you. You have to know kind of what you're looking for, you know, what you're aiming for in terms of role, function, industry, company, geography. But you have this amazing support from the Career Development Office to help you make it happen. Since the full-time MBA program and the Silver Scholars program share the same application form, how you discern between applicants for each program? Thank you. So there is one single question on the application form, And the question is phrased along the lines of, are you currently a college senior? Something along those lines. Once you check that box and you say, yes, I'm a current college senior, your application will be automatically directed to the Silva Scholars pool, which means that your application will be reviewed in the pool of your peers, along with other college seniors. And by the way, I understand that some of you may have graduated in the fall, November or December. Perfectly fine. Please check that box and it will send your application to the Silva Scholars pool. Anybody that graduated in the 2020-21 application cycle is eligible to apply to the Silva Scholars program. Of course, don't worry if you miss it. We check your graduation date. We carefully go over each application. So we'll make the adjustment on our end. But just to answer, obviously, the question of, this is essentially how we direct applications to the two different pools. The pools made up of young professionals with full-time work experience, and the pool that is made of college seniors applying to the Silva Scholars program. We're almost out of time, but I want to take one more question that I think would be great to end on. The question is, what is the biggest piece of advice on applying to the Silva Scholars program? So I'll actually say a couple of things. Number one, what may sound like cheesy advice, I would like to say, please be yourself. I hope it has become clear in the course of our conversation, my presentation, that we don't give preference. We don't have a preference for a type of profile in a candidate. So please make sure to show us who you are academically, professionally, what you're passionate about, what you have done, what you aspire to do in the future. This is what makes for a good, strong, authentic application. Don't compare yourself to anybody else. It doesn't matter. We want to see students with different majors, different experiences, different career goals. So please don't try to fit a mold. We're not looking for a specific type. Secondly, I want to say, please think about how to clearly communicate your career goals to the Silva Scholars Committee, okay? And the reason why I'm saying this is because this is the reason why the Silva Scholar program exists, the reason why the program was created. It's for those college seniors that already have a very clear interest in something, passion for something. They know what they want to do professionally, and they essentially want to use Silva Scholars program, the MBA degree, as a career accelerator, okay? To help them get there faster, okay? So as we're looking through different applications and looking at all the different components of your application, yes, everything matters, but it's especially important for the committee to understand with clarity and conviction from you what you want to do professionally, how you envision your professional path, okay? Not so much long-term, obviously 10, 15 years from us, from now, give us an idea of what you're aiming for long-term, but more specifically to your short-term goals. Make sure to spend some time thinking about it and helping us understand what you're aiming for during that extended internship immediately after graduation. The committee has to walk away with a very clear idea of what you want to do. Last but not least, I really want to encourage you to stay in touch. I've said a number of times, reach out to our students. They would be happy to connect with you, answer questions, specifically questions around the student life experience that maybe I can't address so much or in such detail. We have a number of events at any given point in time, so check our admissions site for upcoming events, whether related to the Silva Scholars program or not, all right? events around diversity and inclusion, events with conversations with faculty, alumni, etc. And last but not least, don't hesitate to email us for advice, guidance. I've provided my email address. I believe my colleague Diana will send you another message through the chat portion right now to remind you what that email address is. Do not hesitate to engage with us. We're happy to help and provide advice and help in any way we can. So we are exactly at the hour. So at this point, I just want to thank everyone again for joining us. I wish you all the best. I hope you are either on spring break or the spring break is around the corner. Take good care, stay in touch, and I wish you all the very best and hope to see some of you in the near future.